Well, hi, folks. This is the sights and sounds of the old birch tree. That little squeal in the background was 1 foot Leah, one shoe on, one shoe off, coming through complaining. Telling her mom that her shoe's off. I decided that since we had just talked on the phone this morning, Mom, about the simplest thing to do would be to cut you a tape from here at home. And then you get a little idea of the peace and quiet that we enjoy around here. Actually, it's a fairly quiet day today. Esther's gone for the afternoon. There went Leah by again. And Daniel went out to Hughes's. So we're down one. We gained one of the Hughes boys here with us this afternoon. The clattering and banging you hear out in the background is John and Alan doing the dishes, with an occasional comment. Well, it's another beautiful day here today. By beautiful, I mean it's cloudy and drizzly. This makes about the second day of reasonably cool weather that we've had all summer, and only about the second day of any moisture to amount to anything. Yesterday, it rained actually quite a little bit here. We still have had less than 2 inches of moisture since mid-December. So things are exceedingly dry. We're not looking for a particularly good harvest this year. You just have to put up with that clatter as she goes by. She's having a lot of fun running back and forth. Just went after a sock and a clean pair of pants, so her mom's going to get her fixed up. But at any rate, the beans, which can run anywhere from a sack or 2 per acre upwards to maybe 12 sacks, that's a 100-pound sack, on a good year. This year are going to run anywhere from 1.5 sacks to 3 sacks at the best, with just occasional spots where they got a few extra showers running any more. She needs a little gum. You can probably hear her saying over there. My power concentration is going to really be terrific, so if I hop, skip, and jump, why, you'll have to allow that. Come here, Leah. Can you come over here to Daddy? No, she's not going to come over to Daddy. That's because Daddy wanted her to, you know. Yeah, here she comes. She's going to set up in my lap a little bit. What is it you want, honey? Huh? Huh? Gum?
No.
What are you looking for? What's that?
Daddy.
Is that my pen?
Uh-huh.
Hey, can you say kitty?
What gum?
Gum. Can you say kitty? Pretty kitty?
Da. K.
Yeah. Can you say puppy?
Puppy.
Puppy, yeah. Would you like to have a puppy? Yeah.
What? That?
What's that?
Da.
That's a microphone.
She's got the hiccups.
What da?
That's a microphone. When you talk, your voice goes into there, and Grandma's going to hear your voice clear out in Oregon. Is that all right? Huh? What are these?
My.
Yours?
Mama.
Are they your beads?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're pretty, aren't they? Hey, what are you?
Lily.
Are you a honey?
Huh?
Huh? Oh, you're Leah. You're Leah.
Uh-huh.
Are you a honey? What are you? What are you?
Da.
Yeah, that's the microphone.
Ma.
Yeah, microphone.
Mother.
Yeah, microphone, that's right. Oh, yes. Well, we're having a lot of fun with her. Some days when she's real talkative, why, we get a lot of comment from her. And I thought since you'd heard me so much this morning, you probably might just enjoy her a little bit. And if any of the others wander through from time to time, we'll try and get them to comment a little bit. John could probably tell you a little bit about starting junior high and that sort of thing, if they come through. I don't know whether any of them are going to be around. Mark's already gone out to play, and of course, like I told you, Esther and Dan are gone. So I may have to make this up mostly myself, but Betty's sitting over at the desk writing a letter, I suppose, to one of the girls, or maybe her mother. Okay, honey, you run on and play now, huh? Now, let's see. What else was I going to tell you about? I think I mentioned to you on the phone that about Dan's job. I'll tell you a little bit more about that, and couldn't give you too much detail in the time we had, but this is really a dandy. He had turned his name in down at the Employment Service because the man who runs the Employment Service here in town moved in from Durango and is a Baptist, and matter of fact, he and his wife just joined our church this morning. But when Betty and I were out visiting him a while back, we mentioned that Dan was interested in getting whatever work that a 14-year-old could handle, and he told him, well, he'd put him on the list, and when hay work or lawn mowing or whatnot came up, why, he'd let him know. And as a result, why, he got him quite a few jobs, and while Dan was gone to camp, this man from the Tom's Candy Company, a fellow named Corkish, called and had gotten Dan's name from the Employment Service, and said, well, he could wait till Dan got back from camp, but for Dan to call him as soon as he got back. So when Dan got back, he couldn't reach him that night, but he called him the next day, and the man told him to come on over, and he talked to him. Well, as a result, this fellow has a candy route out of here. In fact, he put on a second driver now, so they have 2 trucks, and they cover quite an area, probably a 100-mile radius or so out of here, and in fact, in some directions further than that. They have these candy vending machines. It's the Tom's Candy Company. I don't know whether you have it there in Oregon, but it's actually nationwide. And it's those machines that you see in gas stations and cafes and places like that where you can put in nickel or dime in the candy machines. And then they have these big machines that have potato chips and corn curls and bacon rinds and, just all kinds of stuff like that, popcorn and whatnot in the 10-cent machines. But in his truck, he has probably 100 items or better. And Dan's job every night is to go over and fill that up. I'm trying to listen to her conversation there. You'll just have to kind of pick it up out of the background, I guess. But anyway, like I told you on the phone, Mom, last week was his first week. Not this week that just got over, but the week before. And that week he helped the fellow quite a bit unload a truck, the big supply truck that comes in with all his stuff into the warehouse, and must have worked. Well, what would it be? Somewhere around 12 hours because he made $18. The guy pays him $1.50 an hour. And this week he'd only worked 6 hours because the fellow's one truck was down, and then the part of the week he was breaking in this new driver, so they got to insulate that he just didn't want Dan to have to come over that late and loaded his own trucks. But it should settle down to somewhere in the neighborhood of about 9-10 hours a week, which would mean he'd make anywhere from $12 to $15 a week, which will be great while he's going to school. And he's real happy about it. He likes the job. And it doesn't interfere with football because the trucks don't get back in until about 7:30 at night, and then he just goes over and works a couple hours, and maybe a while on Saturday or sometimes even Sunday afternoon he has to go over. So I think he's really going to enjoy the job, and of course another little fringe benefit, quite often they get candy and nuts and stuff back out of the machines that are a little too old to sell, but still fairly good to eat if you don't mind your candy being a little on the stale side. So he brings a lot of this home to the kids, and of course he's going to have to stay off it himself if he wants to keep his weight down during football season, so he's up for wrestling. He measures in now at almost 6'1.5". It's about 6'1 3/8" actually. Weighs in at about 170, so he's a pretty good sized chunk of boy this year, and is going to play offensive guard on football and then defensive tackle. And it looks like he'll be playing the biggest share of the time again, and really is looking forward to a good year in football. John, of course, is going out for junior high football, but being smaller and being only a 7th grader with the 8th graders, why he likely won't make as good a showing as he did last year on the 6th grade team where they were all the same age and size. What'd you say, Leah? Huh? Hey, John, come here a minute, will you? Okay. John Allen just came back in. That's why the noise picked up a little there in the background. Hey, why don't you sit down here, pull you up a chair and sit down and tell Graham a little bit about school and some of the clothes you got and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, hello, Grandma.
I got this year at school, I'm going to the junior high here, and it's a separate school than the rest of the schools. It's a little bit bigger than I'm used to, and the first day was Friday, and I went to school, and I found out that I had one of the better teachers for a homeroom teacher, and well, I got started, but I read my schedule wrong, and I went to the wrong class for the first period. I went to math instead of reading, and then I finally got all my classes right except for one, and that was English. I thought I had it for 2:05 in the third period, and he didn't have it scheduled, and so I had to get my PE and that English changed around. But otherwise, it was fun, and I got several pairs of new jeans and a few fancy shirts that are really nice. And then I got a pair of overalls, and I've got them on right now. They're really nice. I can carry lots of my stuff in them, like pencils and things. And well, talking about Alan, he's my friend, see, and he lives way out in the country, and this year he comes to the school I do, and so it's pretty good, we get to see each other almost every day. And then we, out at his place, he got several new bunches of clothes, and they built this new barn, and whenever I go out there, we play in this hayloft of theirs, and it's really fun. And so, I guess he's in the back room. I guess I can't have him say hi. Bye now.
Okay, now we'll call on old Markham here. Come on over, Mark, and yeah, you can say a word or two to Grandma. Tell her what grade you're in, who your teacher is, and what you're going to do in school this year.
Hi, Grandma.
What grade you going to be in this year, Mark?
Third.
And who's your teacher?
Mrs. Hover.
Is she one of the real good teachers?
Yeah.
Real easy on you?
No.
Oh? What kind of teacher is she?
Oh, she's pretty nice first week. Last third grader said that.
Is she a little strict?
Yes.
What does she do that's strict? You don't know, huh?
I don't know.
Did you get any new clothes this year?
Yeah, I got 3 shirts and 4 pairs of pants.
How about socks?
And 4 pairs of socks.
Okay, anything special happen this summer? Nothing special. Okay, well, just thought I'd give you a word or two for them. They can jabber their head off till they get a mic in front of them. Seems like Leah's fascinated with this mic. She figures she ought to have that, But as far as conversation's concerned, why, not too much in the way of conversation, just wants to play with the mic. Well, that's the patch cord, honey. That's when I go from one machine to the other. She's working with some of my equipment here, which is naturally going to help my equipment out a whole lot. Now, let's see, where were we at? Oh, yes. Esther has got a good full schedule this year. She's already got all the credits that she needs to graduate, but rather than taking a light load, she thought she would take a good heavy load and pick up quite a few of the subjects that will help her along when she goes on to college. So she has a full schedule. The high school kids and the junior high kids go to school at 8 this year and get out at 3, where the grade school kids go at 9 and get out at 4. So this place is kind of a helter-skelter mess in the morning, and then, of course, at night they come in. All of the kids will be taking hot lunch this year, so we don't have to worry too much about them coming in at different times at noon, or it would be so hectic that we probably couldn't stand it. And Betty and I have a couple of trips coming up ahead of us. At least I have 2, and she'll have 1. I have to go to Grand Junction for an area meeting the 8th and 9th of September, and then on the 11th to the 15th, both of us are going up to Estes Park for another Lay Institute for Evangelism, and both of us are going to be teaching assistants this year, so we're really looking forward to that. They have the same fellow speaking up there that spoke out at California that we like so well, so we're really looking forward to a good time. I'm kind of watching the end of this roll, and it looks like it's getting almost down to the end, so if I get cut off in the middle of a conversation, why, don't feel bad about it. I'll just pick it up on the other side. You said you like these shorter tapes, and I found I still had one 30-minute tape left, so I'm going to cut you half letter on each side instead of trying to get it all on the one side and then send something else on. I got much of anything else, although no doubt you'll enjoy hearing what the kids had to say. Dad, I wish you could be here and see how my feeble efforts at flowers finally did come out. I confess I had to go down to the greenhouse down here and buy a couple dozen moss roses, but when I finally got them started out here in this bed, they've just literally taken the bed now. They've filled it clear up, and I would say that conservatively there's 100 blossoms out there. My wife's looking very enviously at me, She's got all the rest of the flower beds.
Where the weeds are.
There's no weeds in my flower bed, see. That's what grapes are. I've got a...
I counted 5.
Uh-oh, she counted 5 weeds in my flower bed. Now, don't you believe her. That's probably just, her estimation of it. But I try to keep the weeds out and the flowers coming, and she just kind of lets her flower beds go, But anyway, we've got one real nice pretty spot. I don't know how we're ever going to get around to where we can get the rest of the yard looking the way we'd like to. But little by little we're trying. Over in one corner, on the back corner, next to Mrs. Vinsel and next to the alley, we've rounded out a corner there. And we have a, we have a new flower that one of the ladies down the street, Judy Pierce from our church, has some flower that grows, I'd say 2 to 2.5 feet high, and has a brilliant red blossom, and also some have a very bright yellow blossom. And some of these I tried to raise from seed. I've succeeded so far in getting about 7 plants, 3 that came on early, and then for some strange reason, about a month later, 4 more that came up. And we transplanted them into that bed, and I hope that they make enough seed this fall by scratching it back into the soil and watering good next spring that we get quite a bunch of them to come up. So that would take care of that corner. Then, of course, along beside the garage, which is on the back part of our place, we fill that full of petunias. But after having the good petunias from out at your guys, these things that we get here are desperately disappointing. They're just tall and straggly, and we clipped them back before we planted them, or when we planted them, and all they did was grow tall and straggly again, and they fall over, and I don't know, they're just not a good-looking petunia. But we got that bed full of red and white ones, so at least added a little bit of color with the leaves and the debris that blows in off the alley. But that's been about my attempt. In the hotbed, when I finally got done, I had the 5 tomato plants that I succeeded in growing out of that whole pack of seeds you sent me. They're setting on tomatoes pretty good. We haven't got any ripe ones yet because they came on so late. But I have got probably 25, 30 green ones anyway. And we're looking forward to some tomatoes out of there. Then I have about 4 plants that Mr. Vinsel gave me that he started from seed. But they're apparently a later tomato, and they were slower and smaller, so they're not doing too good. Had to get my other mic back from Leah. She's bound determined she's going to get a mic one way or another. Boy, you ought to have been along the last couple of weeks, Dad. I really got to go out and do some good fishing. I don't know whether you'd have gone for this type of fishing or not. I tried to get you in the water in Montana, I remember, and that wading in that old icy creek didn't seem to be your style of fishing, but we really had a good time. I took Dan and an elderly man by the name of Byron Hampton that really is not in too terribly good a shape. He has to almost go out with somebody or it wouldn't be safe for him to go out, but a nice old fellow. And we went out, and he got his limit, and Dan and I got 19 between us. We were one shy of a limit. We threw back a few too many, I'm afraid, always thinking, we were going to get one more big one to fill out the limit. And between us, we had probably a half a dozen that ran 11.5, 12 inches. And then I had one great big whopping 14-incher. And in a trout, now that's a good-sized trout out of these smaller creeks that we fish. And then this last week, we went back up in that same general area to fish. And, of course, Dan was in school, so just Byron and I went, and we each got 7, and we really had to fish hard to get them. It rained a little bit, and then they were letting water out of the dam above us several miles, but that was coming downstream, and riling up the water, and of course it made the water deeper so it didn't flow through the holes so good. But I got one 13-incher out of that batch and a couple of more 12-inchers, so all told now, counting 3 pounds per bunch, and most of them would weigh a little bit more than that, but that's what I'm counting them. We've got 10 bunches or 30 pounds of fish put up ready to trade this man from Nebraska when he comes out in the fall to bring us some beef. I don't suppose we'll get more than maybe 40 to 50 pounds at the very most, but that would be a lot of trout for him to eat, and of course we'll enjoy the beef. I may have him dig out all the extra hamburger that he's got, and the other farmers around there, they all like steaks and roasts and that sort of thing, and their hamburger kind of piles up on them. And they have so much better hamburger than what we can buy in the store here that I may have him bring that out too as long as he's coming, and we'll buy the extra hamburger off of him so that we've got some good hamburger ahead for the winter. We're still working on that half beef that we brought home. We had a nice beef roast today, and I'll tell you, I guess we got spoiled while we were there in Nebraska, but that good corn-fed beef is a lot better than what we get out here. Well, I hope everything's going well with the greenhouse. Mom's been telling me how you were working hard, taking all the windows out and re-putting them. The last letter that we got from her, the putty was just due to get in but hadn't come yet. I assume by now that it's come and you've got your glasses all back in. It would have been really fun to be home and help you with the job. I don't know that I'd have been any help except just to have a strong back and weak mind to the project, but at least we could have visited while we were working. Enjoyed the a couple of days I had home. You really got yourself quite a route system there with the bigger stores and so whatnot in Salem and Dallas. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, Dad, now that you're able to spend more time with the business, that'll build up even beyond that, at least as big as you want to make it. Mom was telling me how you got all the sales lot pretty well cleaned up. So I imagine by now that you're just mainly done selling and into the fall work. And that'll give you a chance to get caught up on it a bit anyway. Trying to think what else might be newsy from here. I told Mom on the phone, and she's no doubt related it to you, the news we had from the older girls. Rachel and Doug are working real hard now to get their car all paid off. He was out on strike here a while back, and they had to take some money out of savings to live on, and if they hadn't had the car payments, they could have made it without it, so they want to get that car paid for, and I think they're paying something like $80, $85 a month on that car. Maybe it's more than that, but I know it's a pretty good sized payment, and yet they're doubling up, making about 2 to 3 payments each month until they get it paid for, and still putting a little bit of money away in savings. So Doug is getting in about 8 hours a week overtime, and that, on the kind of pay he gets, really adds up. They're talking about eventually buying themselves a trailer house, either a real good used one or possibly, even if they can afford it, a new one. They've been looking around. They've found a trailer park that they like real well. It's quiet and somewhat secluded and would give them a nice place to stay. But of course they're going to have to get this car all paid for before they go into that. She also told us that a lady, quite a wealthy lady, was moving to a new house, and she wanted to buy a new washer and dryer that were gold colored to match her utility room. So she told the girl that was cleaning there that if she knew anybody that wanted her washer and dryer, if they'd come and get them, they could have them. So they told Rachel and Doug, and of course they got a truck from somebody and ran right over and got them. Here they are, only about 3 years old. So now they have a comparatively new washer and dryer, and all it cost them was the effort of going and getting them, and that made them real happy. All in all, she sounded pretty cheerful, and I think things are going real well for them. Then we called Becky, and she had just finished this class that she was taking for the summer at school. Had done pretty well on it, she felt. Hoped that she would get an A. Wasn't sure whether it would make an A. It might possibly only be a B, but at least it wouldn't be any worse than that. Randy is still working on his job for the carpenter for the summer. Then he's, of course, as soon as that's over, will be going back to classes full time. And I don't know exactly what kind of arrangements he's made for the winter, whether he's going to go back to work at the lumber yard where he worked last winter, or whether he's going to work part-time for this carpenter, or just what he's planning to do. But no doubt he'll have to work during the winter. And of course Becky is continuing on her job that she has with the dentist as his assistant. She just had a 3-week vacation time that she used and went to school full-time during that time in order to get in the 6 credit hours that she got for this subject that she took during the summer months. And it sounded like everything was going real well with them. Then last night on the news, we heard about this tremendous storm they had in the Chicago area, up to 3 and 4 foot of water running down through parts of that country. And the wind was tremendous. It blew tops off of buildings and blew over a big Ferris wheel that they had at a carnival there, and blew in the side of a building at a shopping center. Just a lot of things that had happened. So we're kind of wondering now, they have a little creek that runs kind of behind their trailer house. It's in a fairly deep gully, but if the water came down through there, really fast, they may have had little problems too. So that would have happened after we called her on the phone. We're kind of waiting now. I assume that if anything out of the ordinary happened, they would call us, and they haven't. So we're just hoping that maybe the wind and rain and all didn't get quite that far. They're actually probably 20, 25 miles out of downtown Chicago, and this may not really even have influenced them at all. But it was a little bit unnerving, to see that on the news. I mentioned to Mom on the other side that we are going on quite a few trips coming up. We've got the trip to Grand Junction, and then the trip to Estes Park, and later on in early November I have to go up to Loveland, Colorado for several days for our regional meeting of the 2 states of Colorado and Wyoming. On top of that, we have a wedding coming up again this next week. I mentioned to Mom on the phone that will make 13 weddings for this year, which I believe is the most I've ever had. And we've had about 5 or 6 funerals as well. So you add that to the regular run of work, and it keeps a guy pretty much hustling. I just got back from Denver, as I told Mom, on late Tuesday night, and had a wedding not a wedding, but a funeral at 10 o'clock the next morning. And about 9:15, I was over in the study still looking out a sermon to use, and that's cutting it a little slim, but that's what they call occupational hazard. In this type of work, you can't, of course, plan when you're going to have a death in the church or have to take a funeral. Those things just happen. Well, I hope that you guys will say hello to everybody for us. It's getting upwards to birthday time, Dad, for both you and Sis. I'll take the opportunity of wishing both of you a very happy birthday on this tape. I'll probably get another one to you before then, but just in case I write, and when I write I usually forget everything, between now and then, rather than sending a tape, why, I'll be sure that I've at least personally wished you both a very happy birthday. And so if you'll say hello to Sis and Jim and Ronnie for us, and of course Gary and the boys when you see them, and Edna when you see her, and if you're over to see Ethel, why, send her along our greetings. Why, we'll appreciate that. I do about my amount of corresponding through you guys, and then depend on you seeing everybody for us and saying hello for us. And of course Mom's been doing the same in keeping us up on Sis and Gary and Edna and Ethel and everybody that way. Again, I'm looking at this tape, and I'm noticing that it's starting to wind down into the last bit of the reel, so it won't be but just a moment or so, and I'll be running out of tape. So rather than getting cut off in the middle of a sentence, I'll just say so long for now, and wish you the very best until we either write or send a tape again next week. So long from all of us.